what are some of the things that you're doing in order to reach them? So you mentioned that, obviously most people will have a list of somebody, say for instance, somebody that's in the target demographic you're going after with the program. That person is bound to be on some wholesaler's list in a market, depending on, where they're at or whatever. So how are you marketing to them in order to get them on the phone, to get into their house or whatever? Like, what are some of the things that are happening? What are the dominoes that are tipping over in order to get into the contact's, point of view?
Yeah, great question. The seniors on your list, you can pull a senior list. The problem is who you're really looking for is not the senior, it's Daughter Judy. Daughter Judy is the 60-year-old daughter who's I call her the most responsible child, her and her three brothers and sisters. There's always that one sister that the burdens, she's still back at home, back in the hometown. She's taking mom to all the meetings. You're trying to find Daughter Judy. Well, you can't pull a list of Daughter Judys. She's getting information from the senior stakeholders, and they're telling Daughter Judy who to contact for this, who to contact for that. And so 3 things happen, and there's more than 3, but I think the 3 pillars are this. When you don't take a healthy mom to senior living, which means something just happened to mom. That's why you're taking her to senior living for 24-hour care, right? So where is mom going to get the best care? Followed almost instantly with how are we going to pay for it, which is the house, and then who's going to clean out the house. And so the investor kind of a lot of times takes care of 2 of those things. We don't mind cleaning the house out. We'll pay for the stuff, you know what I mean? Whatever, let them take their heirlooms, but the stuff never stops. That we smell that as opportunity, right? So that 3-legged stool of mom's best care, the house, and the stuff, we help with 2 of those things.
Huh. That's interesting. And so in order to reach these people, again, without like trying to give away the entire secret sauce, how are you finding Daughter Judy? Are you sending direct mail to, you don't have the list?
No, I'm not. That's the whole great part of
things you're doing.
You can't find Daughter Judy, right? So I work in the senior living world. I unlock the stakeholder. There's 9 different job titles that I go after and network with them. So I don't network with Daughter Judy. I network with the senior living industry. I let them know what my value prop is. And they say, and by the way, you want $1 million sentence? Everyone write this down. Do you ever have a situation where they want to move mom in, but they can't until they get the house sold? It's always followed by a laugh. They're like, Phil, every single day, that's what we go through here in fill in the blank community, right? Are you working with anyone that's going through that right now? In my second sentence, I just asked for the sale, and I didn't say I'm an investor, and I didn't say I'm a realtor. I said I'm a person that solves a problem that I know that they have every single day.
Yeah, I love that. So that's one of the things that I think sets apart the way you guys approach it, as opposed to obviously a wholesaler, right? Or even, you mentioned that they approach themselves as an investor. First of all, no, don't do that. If anything, if you're going to use any kind of terminology, if you guys aren't going to use like what Philip has, say you're a house buyer, like, guys, investor has a bad connotation. Obviously, nobody knows what a wholesaler is. So
transition specialist. Use that. Transition specialist sounds even better. It's funny. Even better. Josh, in my branding, we talk about the kindness of your LLC, the name of your account. If you're like cash money home buyers, it's not. But then I look at our whole entire industry, and I'll say it. I was on Bigger Pockets, right? I was on an interview there. The word bigger pockets, is that what the senior wants to hear? I'm going to go with no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Us investors, we care about that. But like, it's kind of like the We Buy Ugly Houses guys, No, that's not mom's house style. We're in the hugs and kisses business. And so, it's different. It's just different. So you got to be careful how you approach your look to the community.
Absolutely. And the way that like the entire aura of what you guys are doing is a helping hand, right? So like, that's the approach that you're taking. And it's coming out of a place of being more of a service provider that, has a great attitude, great type of personality that somebody's dealing with. And that's what the elderly want to deal with. Have you ever gone to like your grandma's house and like try to pitch her on something, and like she or you even like, when I was younger, like I would not want to eat a specific cornbread that my grandma made, and I would try to like sell to her why I shouldn't eat that cornbread, and it was like, no, you're eating that, right? So like, these are the type of people you're dealing with. They don't want to deal with sleazy salespeople or people that are going to try to, get them a discounted, cash price offer on their house or whatever. I think that the demographic you're dealing with is definitely somebody that is tender, somebody that needs that loving care, needs to be shown an easier route that also has a lot of empathy along with it, right? And that also goes back into Daughter Judy, right? Like, that it plays along both of those demographics. So you're actually dealing with not just one seller, you're dealing with multiple people inside of that kind of sales cylinder that you're going after. And so it's important to understand that. And I think that's hard to get across to a lot of people, Philip, is like, don't be a salesman, be empathetic. That's going to be the best way to service somebody, especially in the kind of program that you're running right now. Does that all make sense? Is that fair to say?
It's super fair. I would take it a step further and say this is probably the first program that I've seen where I think that females have the advantage in what I do. I'm obviously a guy, and I'm a big personality, so I had to learn how to tone that down a lot. I have way more of the investor personality than I do the vase personality, and so my empathy is not fake, but I had to learn how to listen to those stories and be a better listener. And I think empathy is built into females more than it is men. And I'll give you the best example I can. In my training, we go to live, or at least pre-COVID, we would go to live in the senior living communities. We'd go on a tour. And the men, the women would be over like talking to people like, hey, how you doing? Like touching people's arms and like, kind of like, getting in the mix. And the men would stand over in the corner like, can we leave? Can we get out of here? And it was just like, because it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it was funny to like, Ben and I were talking about this. Like, did you notice the guys were like trying to get out of there and the women actually, were talking to everybody. And so I've seen a lot of couples do this together, husbands and wives, they have their attributes and they're kind of doing this as like power couples. And so over the next 20 years too, what I like about my type of marketing is it's not trendy or sexy. The next 20 years has like 21 million boomers. The stat is 7 out of 10. So 70% of Americans over the age of 65 will live in some sort of assisted care before they pass away. So whenever people tell me this is a little niche, I'm always like, no, this is the whole entire business. This is our future for real estate investors.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I would far rather, you get a quality lead like what you guys are going after, as opposed to just trying to blanket the entire, Houston market or the entire, Dallas market, or like you're going after everybody with all these different marketing channels. And with what you do, it's very niche into a very specific type of person, which by the way, is a person I would want to deal with myself anyway. I would much rather deal with, this sweet old lady and Daughter Judy, as opposed to, and be willing to just help somebody with that kind of an attitude. I think that's really great.